I'm Zina Garrison, and you're watching The Real Deal with Akil.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have one of the greatest tennis players to step foot on a tennis court. If you don't know him, you're around the same age as me. Your mama should know him. Your auntie, your grandma, your sister, your aunt's sister, your cousin. I'm talking about newcomer of the year in 1982. A woman's three-time mixed double champion, women's double gold medalist, and a single bronze medalist at the 1988 Olympic Games. 1990 Wimbledon runner-up. She resides in Houston, Texas. I'm talking about Zina Garrison. Zina, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for stopping by. Thank you. I want to ask you this. You have a academy coming up called the Zina Garrison Academy, and it's every year.
Yeah, actually, I've had the academy now for 26 years. Which is actually pretty interesting within itself, because most of the time when an athlete retires, normally the foundation goes with it. Yeah. But I've still been around for 26 years, and we're at McGregor Park at the Homer Ford Tennis Center, giving kids the opportunity to play tennis for free. Yeah. And so right now, school years, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, we have beginners out, from ages 4 to 17. So it's really cool. And then we have an advanced program that comes out every day.
How big is the arena out here for tennis players in Houston? It's like a big market, and do you see like a lot of tennis players in Houston?
No, not really. There was a time when there were more that were playing. And it's kind of interesting, you would think, because, Venus and Serena has done so much for the game, but it's a lot of people still think that it's a very rich sport, which it is, but there's so many more ways you can get involved in it.
Do you think you would have thought basically if Serena and Venus were like the mainstream tennis players, you thought that would have helped players to come out of the shell to play tennis? Yeah,
well, just more than anything is that they broke the barriers for so many. For when I was coming up, it's just you can only play tennis. Yeah. So they started doing more things and outside, which means that you get more people involved, and so they brought a lot of people into tennis would have never even thought about looking at a tennis match.
Yeah. And when you played tennis, did you always love the game, even when you was younger?
I always had a love-hate for it, and people always look at me like, what? Yeah. But I always had a love-hate for it because I came along after Althea Gibson and Arthur Ashe, and it was still a lot. The sport was still very prejudiced, and there was a lot of racism. Yeah. So for me, they broke the barriers down for me, but then there was still some that were still out there that I broke. And then the next generation, like Chanda Rubin and then Venus and Serena, we all kept knocking them down. So.
Yeah. And I remember you told me this before we started recording. You was in the era of like Martina and Celis, and it was one more.
Martina, Celis, Steffi Graf.
Yeah.
So
have you ever played against those three?
I played against them all.
Countless times. Right?
Yeah. And actually this weekend we're having a major event, and Martina Navratilova actually is coming to the event, 11 Play, that we're going to have this weekend. And it's a really interesting event anyway, because it's in the homes of a lot of wealthy Houstonians that have tennis courts in their backyard. And so it'll just, a lot of fun, a lot of eating. Yeah. We'll also have some celebrity chefs that will be there. And it's just, and a fashion show as well. So, yeah, so it's just kind of merging all of it together.
And it's this weekend?
It's this weekend.
Where's it at?
It's actually in, like I said, 3 different homes.
Okay.
So, but you can go on to support zga.org and get a lot more information.
And when you played tennis, let's just go back down memory lane. Let's go back.
We got to go way back with me.
Let's go 35 years ago. 1982, when you first came into the game of tennis. How was that year?
Well, actually, for me, I literally left. I did go to my prom. I didn't go to my graduation.
How was the prom?
Well, it was cool because, for me being a tennis player and just kind of out there and, still kind of sheltered, gave me an opportunity to be normal pretty much. Yeah. I left there, and literally the next week I was on the court of the French Open.
Wow.
I was playing.
And then went to the French Open?
I was the number one junior in the world already. So then I was playing Martina Navratilova in the quarterfinals of the French Open. So a lot of things happened to me, and I went, I think it was only Serena's the only one since me, but I came on the computer like 27, 26. Serena came on, I think, like 24. And that's like, it's really hard to do.
That's hard.
Yeah.
How far did you go in the French Open?
Well, the first year, the quarterfinals, it was never one of my favorite tournaments. So I was always making it to Wimbledon. Clay was a little slow for me.
Yeah, because they still use the clay right now.
They still use it, and it's still very slow.
Yeah.
And I was always looking forward to, a couple of weeks later, you're on the grass, and just it's a lot faster. So,
what's the difference between the clay and the grass? How would you rank it as far as like the easiest to play on? Or like
well, it really depends on your preference and your style of game. Back in the old days, we used to do a lot of serving and volleying or come to the net a lot more. The young girls now, or the girls now, and they pretty much stay in the back court and stay in the bait, and just hit as hard as they can. Yeah. So the times have kind of changed. And also with that, they start changing the courts as well. So there's different systems in place to make the court slower or faster, for TV purposes, as well as the grass. They changed the seed of the grass.
And then we fast forward to 1988. And could you say that was your best year because you went to the Olympics and won?
Well, I would say it was one of my best awards. I mean, for me, I won a gold medal with Pam Shriver, who totally in a different, like, economical base, and the way we grew up was totally opposite. Yeah. And we went on and win the first gold medal since they put tennis back into the Olympics. So it was just really cool. And then I ended up winning a bronze in singles. So.
Would you prefer a mixed team? Well, mixed.
I'm real moody. I'm real moody. So sometimes it
depends on the chemistry.
Yeah.
Of the person as well. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you definitely, when you're playing doubles, you definitely have to have your chemistry together. But it just, some people are more adaptable. They want somebody to be on the court with them. Like, it didn't matter to me. Yeah. Like, I prefer to be out there by myself and to control what I can control.
Who was your favorite teammate?
Probably, I only had 5 in my career, which is kind of hard.
Is that a lot?
That's not a lot at all.
You can usually see sometimes.
Venus and Serena, they only played with Venus and Serena when you play doubles. So I would say all 5 of them in different ways. I learned a lot, but just having that gold medal with Pam was something really special.
If you had to pick any tennis player to team up with, male or female, any era.
Right now?
Or any
era.
Dead or alive, anyone. For the Wimbledon gold medal, or first championship.
I would pick Martina. Yeah.
Why is that?
The longevity she had in the game, her volleys are amazing, and she was one of the best doubles players of all time.
Or is it that because I got this event coming up this week?
No. She beat me 35 times and I only won 1, so no.
Oh, God. Oh.
So no, but it's just, it's always tough for me because when people say, "Oh, are you gonna put?" When they say, "Is Martina better? Or is Serena better?" And it's like different eras and it's different games.
So
but
you can't rank because people right now would say Serena's the best all time in women.
She's I would say after 2 years ago, I would say kind of head to head with Steffi and Martina, but she's by far past them.
Because she had that, I think it was last year or the year before, she could have won all the Grand Slams.
Yeah, I was at that match.
She lost again. Which one? Was the U.S.?
U.S. Open. Yeah.
People blame Drake for because she was hanging out with Drake.
I blamed him too. I'm only kidding.
I ain't like my mom said the same. I swear to God, my mom said it was Drake's fault that Serena did not win the Grand Slam. And my grandma said the same thing. She called my mom like, Baby, you heard? You believe in Drake? That boy Drake ruined Serena
Well,
Williams.
well, you have to blame it on somebody.
Yeah.
It couldn't be. But more than anything, I mean, if you've ever played the game or the pressure, you were just hoping that it didn't hit when it did,
Right.
and that was my. I've been Serena's mentor since she's been in the league. I've known them since they were 7 and 8.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I was just hoping that the pressure didn't overwhelm her, and it hit, and she's human.
Yeah, cause that was bad. I thought she was gonna coast through that.
No, never coast in tennis.
Oh, goodness, and people don't realize how hard tennis is.
Yeah.
I used to play tennis at one point too.
Oh, wow.
I was a good tennis player. I stopped myself.
I like the way you said you were a good tennis player.
Yeah, I stopped
now,
myself.
what determined that you thought you were a good tennis player?
I think I didn't tell you this earlier. I could have been great, but I stopped myself. I got into basketball. They didn't want me to play tennis no more. They said, "Kid, you serve too hard. Why are you still playing?" I said, "I'm gonna stop." I don't want them to come to me and try to give allegations and all that. I was like, my service was in high school. I hit like around. I almost touched 95. So
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. That's not very hard in tennis.
In high school.
No.
No, I'm talking about as a freshman, like 8th grade, going to high school.
Oh, well, maybe
Yeah,
there, but it's still, you should have been breaking 100.
I broke 100 6 months after.
Okay.
I broke 6 months after, and they was like, Leah, kid, and I was quick. I was going zoop, left and right, zigzag, because it's hard to have your agility, the footwork.
Yeah, most people don't realize how tough it is. That you think that you watch it on television, and it's just like you go out and you take this racket and you keep the ball over, but
Oh no, it's hard.
it's just like golf, but the only difference is you have someone going against you, and so that ball's coming, you're hitting it over, and it's coming back, and hitting it over, it's coming back. So
I think golf and tennis is the two of the most hardest sports. Well, I mean, as far as because football is hard too, because you got to play quarterback and then you got to get hit and all these things. But tennis and golf, when I played golf, when I was my dad, I never got the driving range.
No.
I couldn't get to the real golf course.
Most tennis players, it's pretty easy for them to make the transition. So it was pretty easy for me to make the transition. So.
And it's like you can't take no days off with tennis.
Not really. I mean, as I grew up, the older I got, I started taking, just chilling on Sundays.
Any inspirations growing up?
My inspiration always was to be the best that I could possibly be. My mom literally preached that to me from as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
Just to be the best that you can possibly be, no matter what it was. Our saying in our house was like, if you're a janitor, or a housekeeper or whatever, or a lawyer or whatever, strive to be the best.
And right now, can you say you have a favorite tennis player besides Serena? Besides Serena, who's your favorite tennis player right now?
Well, Serena is one of my favorites. She's not my ultimate favorite is Roger Federer.
He's good, yeah. Him, the dog. Any up and coming players?
I'm still struggling with it. I haven't seen him yet. Everybody's
break.
Well, but I'm a little biased because it's tough for me because I kind of know what to look, and so a lot of the younger people right now, they're just kind of getting stuck in. They make so much money. Yeah. It's like, and then the fame, and then you guys have all the social media. It's just a whole different way of life now.
Yeah, because I know when people's gonna miss Serena when she's gone.
Yeah.
And
Venus.
Yeah, exactly. And do you feel that there's somebody else coming up they could be in middle school right now, high school that you seeing right now, that could be the next great that can carry?
Well, to be honest with you, I've kind of checked out of tennis a little bit. Just because it's a little boring to me at times. Yeah. So I checked out for a moment. But I do that. It's nothing unusual. And then the summer comes and I'm like, click back in. So
And in 1990, you played in the Wimbledon. You was in the championship.
Yeah.
Who was it against?
Martina.
Oh, man. How was that? Was that your first? That was your first time playing her.
Well, for me, it was in the quarterfinals, I beat Monica Seles, who was on a winning streak of 37 matches, and she hadn't lost. So I beat beat Monica in the quarters, and then I had to play Steffi Graf, who also had a streak going, and she was also the number one player in the world. And I beat Monica and Steffi, and then I was to go against Martina Navratilova, and so I was great. I even wore Martina's clothes up until the finals, and in the finals I got a contract with Reebok, and it's when Althea Gibson, which was the first African American tennis player to win Wimbledon, when she walked into the locker room, then all my nerves hit. And I never really recovered. Yeah.
Wow.
True story.
So she never walked into the locker room.
No. I who knows? Maybe I would have had a Wimbledon championship.
What was your seed at the time? Or do you
I don't actually remember. I know I was in the top 10. But I don't exactly remember. And Arthur Ashe was there, and I have a famous picture that that's dear to my heart, where Arthur Ashe and Althea Gibson, and I'm in the middle. It's like you can't get any better.
Wow. How was your first time? How was that experience meeting Arthur Ashe for the first time?
Well, actually, I met Arthur when I was 17, because I was trying to decide if I was going to turn pro, if I was going to go to college. And so Arthur came down and basically convinced me. I was already the number one junior in the world. And he was like, you've played everyone, so why not try it for the pros? And so I took a couple of weeks off and decided to go pro. My mom wasn't happy.
She wasn't happy for you to go pro?
No.
Well, you was fresh out of high school.
Well, yeah. I mean, and then back in that day, have an opportunity to go to college, and it's like.
And you never took the opportunity to go to college at all?
I did right but I chose to go pro instead.
Well, I can ask you this. Is it the transition to come from high school, is it better to go from high school to pro in tennis, or high school, college, then pro?
Well, right now they've changed a lot of laws, a lot of the rules. Venus and a girl by the name of Kornikova are the last two that came in at 14. Serena, I think, came in at 16. And they made it a lot tougher just to come out of high school. And the reason why they did is they had a lot of kids with burnout, and just the lifestyle was very difficult, because you have so many people around you, and it's like you're still not mentally ready sometimes. So I think it's better this way, because you have to mature as a person, and you can't just like go in and make all that money and then make it difficult. Jennifer Capriati was like the youngest at 14 and making millions. It's a lot.
And have you followed the college? How you follow college basketball as of late, as far as like the news that's going on with the NCAA is getting almost exposed, with the coaches paying high school athletes to go to their colleges and all of that?
What's different than normal?
I know, right?
It's just like you said, just being exposed.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing that for years, and
they're just not getting caught with it.
I'm always been the one on the end that I feel that athletes bring money into the school, and that they should have an account for them for when they leave. Yeah. Or some incentive, and you shouldn't just play, or you take a chance to mess up your knee and it's like, okay, you're out of there. Yeah. I've always been like, you should put each and every one of them, along with their scholarship, should have an account for them when they finish.
Yeah, because Stan Van Gundy, the coach for the Detroit Pistons, came out a couple of days ago saying that it's racist for
I heard about
the basketball, because you have baseball, you can go from high school to the pro. Hockey, you can do the same. But then you got basketball, who was predominantly black. They telling you to go to college first before you can go to pro, because you've seen some of the greatest athletes in basketball: LeBron James, Garnett, KG, Kobe, Dwight Howard came straight from high school.
But I grew up just not too long from that era when they were coming out at 19 and 18, and the money definitely is different now. Yeah. And so, it is something to the fact of knowing that you have that 1 year of responsibility under you. Yeah. But I do get why go to college when you're just going to come out the next year. It's
just for money. It's just money and ratings. And you got the tournament as well. Tournament. these networks need to make their money. So I understand why coaches and players are mad. I will be too. I'm like, I'm only gonna be here for like 1 year, and but you
Yeah.
got hockey and baseball players going out from high school to the pros.
Yeah, and actually, I was thinking about this today. It's just giving my age away, but I remember when Nike became Nike. I
Mm-hmm.
remember when Gatorade became Gatorade,
Right.
and it's like to live in the era where all these things were made. Or you had a Moses Malone, making one of the first biggest checks. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like living in that era when you see things have changed, and or even one that's even bigger and it's more like to my heart now is I love the fact that we have someone like LeBron James that speaks out.
Mm-hmm.
In the era that I grew up in, you couldn't speak out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you're going to lose your endorsements. You can't say
Mm-hmm.
anything. You got to sit back and you got to hold your tongue.
Yeah.
I love these young guys, are taking a stance.
Yeah. And that's how it is for NFL too. It's like the NFL's got the players so control, but I appreciate, and I know you can too, Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
But you've seen the repercussion. He lost his job. The NBA can't afford to lose on LeBron James. You're gonna tell LeBron James to nay, you can't play no more in the NBA.
They're making money off him.
Exactly.
They ain't about to tell him
And
nothing.
the owners are different too. The owners in NFL.
Well, the owners are different, but the biggest thing is that he is a world franchise,
Yeah.
not just national, not just Cleveland. He's a world franchise, so they're not gonna touch them. Or Kaepernick, it's the great thing about him is they don't need to give him the respect because he's getting the respect anyway.
Yeah.
And I always felt that it's a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that him, and I can't think of the other guy that's kneeled with them that doesn't get as much press. But
with Kaepernick, Eric Reed.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
love that little young guy. But the fact is that they never swayed from what the initial reason why they kneeled. But everybody else tried to sway from it.
Yeah. And I had on a Texas player last show, and we talked about the protest. He was a rookie, and he was saying that I'm a rookie. I don't want to lose my job.
Yeah.
I understand where I'm coming from 1,000%, but with what Bob McNair said, he said he needs him. He needs Bob McNair. He's a rookie. He can't lose that. He can't lose that job because you still want to play the sport that you love to play.
Yeah.
And why risk it as a rookie?
And that particular person would be more in the area of where I grew up in, which I understand.
Yeah.
Because you weren't allowed to,
Mm-hmm.
Or you couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you always had like, Jim Brown or some that, whatever.
Kareem and Ali.
Yeah. But the bottom line is the great thing about right now is there's a whole group of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, like what's going on right now with these kids and the shootings
Mm-hmm. And I was gonna get to that too.
in Parkland.
Yeah.
Nobody has said anything that at all about the fact is that school's predominantly Jewish.
Mm.
They're not about to forget nothing.
Nope. Not at all.
Anybody noticed, and I get very passionate about this, but
Mm-hmm.
anybody noticed that they never asked for no money to start? Can we get a GoFundMe account so we can get some buses to go up there? They put their funds together and they did what they need to do. People fell in line later,
Yeah.
but nobody's saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, those kids have the resources
Mm-hmm.
and they also have, from the Jewish community, you now have a whole understanding of suffering.
Right.
They're not quitting.
They not. Not at all.
They're not quitting.
Nope. And I feel bad too because I had a show up here 2 shows ago, and I was telling her, I was like, you see all these shootings that happens, and it's the same exact story: depression, been bullied. So I'm gonna go get these Call of Duty weapons, these high-tech weapons that I can't afford in these small cities, and I'm gonna go shoot up a school or a theater. And to me, with the same, I'm thinking to myself, this could be some type of. I'm a conspiracy guy. I'm a conspiracy guy. I get it from my dad, and I don't like listening to the news all the time. So I'll be like, hold on, let me do my research. So at first I was like, this is some type of conspiracy or hoax with the Florida shooting, because some of it I believe, which is fake. You know what I'm saying? I just believe like, come on, man, I don't believe this at all. But now I see I see what the kids are doing. Okay, I was wrong on this one.
Well, look I was just listening to the news before I came over here.
Mm-hmm.
Our president wants to put more guns in schools.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to arm teachers.
Yeah.
A teacher today,
Killed himself.
he lost his mind.
Yeah. And I'm gonna ask you, how you feel about teachers carrying guns now to school?
Oh, absolutely not.
No.
I mean, just for what just happened, teachers are under more stress than most people around here.
Yeah.
They have our kids that they have to protect, they have to teach, and now they have to, now you're asking them to carry guns?
What's teacher gonna do? I don't understand why they just can't get like security at schools now.
You had security, the man went the other way.
Oh.
You had, turns out there was 4 that never went in. Would you go in when you know the difference of a machine gun and a regular gun? Would you run into a building?
Nope. I'm black. You know I'm running.
Even though the president said he would run into a building.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I would like to see what building that is.
I want to see what he's gonna do. Has he ever spoke out about it? He didn't get like.
Oh no, he's been speaking out lately, so he's actually.
Was it powerful or was it Trumpish?
I think he's getting backed into a corner. Like today, he basically said that he's kind of going against the NRA, but the Republicans are unhappy. But tomorrow it'll change. So
I have to give credit to those kids.
I know. I'm just those kids.
Brave.
Beyond
on CNN, stepping up to the lady that works for NRA.
Yeah.
And you had all that rally. That's worldwide. That's huge.
But once again, they're living in a time where they understand, and we're going to go back to the athletes.
Yeah.
The athletes like LeBron and Chris Paul and all of them. This is the era that those kids see.
Yeah.
You have the era of the phone. They're not afraid anymore. So they're stepping out. And once again, go back to the funds. They don't have to be afraid. Yeah. The guy that killed those kids in that school was getting ready to inherit $800,000.
Wow. Did not know that.
He lived in a pretty wealthy neighborhood. Most of those kids live in a wealthy neighborhood.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask you this too, with people being bold or not in our generation. How do you view our generation compared to your generation?
I'm not saying it's in a negative way. It's just because of the computers and because of everything so fast. Sometimes you guys want instant gratification without earning it.
Yeah.
So, but the era I grew up in, you work hard, you do this, and then things come.
Yeah.
And it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But I think this particular generation right now, it's starting to inform all of that together.
It's like a microwave era.
Yeah.
We want to think. And I appreciate my parents too, because I could relate to them. And I always learned that, you gotta earn what you want to get. It's for example, like a person that interns somewhere. 2 months down the line, they get bored and they quit because they're not getting the results they want at that time. Like, you still in school, you still interning. You're not gonna get the salary right away. You just got there, And I learned coming from my families that it's gonna take time. I've been interning for 4 or 5 years. I don't get no type of salary, not ask for nothing, because I know at the end of it,
but you're
different. You know what I'm saying? How you feel about the whole Monique situation? And she's speaking out on Netflix and the Hollywood thing.
I don't.
Follow. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Basically, she's speaking on the inequality of a black woman in Hollywood.
I don't.
And
I don't know enough about it,
oh, okay,
so I'm just not one. Some, you know.
okay,
I know she's a Grammy Award winner,
yeah,
and so I know she has an opinion. That's all I know.
yeah.
So,
Okay, I'm gonna ask you as an athlete. Then, have you faced a lot of adversity being a black female athlete?
oh yeah, it's. I mean, if you Google me, you'll know that I went up against the USTA for just basically discrimination for the young kids that were coming behind me. But I haven't had a lot like where it like stunned me. But I did have some that made me aware that I'm still black.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna ask you this to end this off. What's next for you in ZGA?
the big weekend, and so we'll go back over because we're gonna have some great things, and they will have the fashion show. We'll have the tennis tournament. We still have some capabilities to buy some tickets for this weekend for the fashion show. And the one part I'm really excited about is the fashion show.
Yeah.
The Art Institute. There will be 3 designers from the Art Institute that have 5 very prominent, not designers, but prominent people in the fashion world that would judge their designs, which my kids from GGA will be wearing along with celebrities.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a really cool event.
And how can listeners and viewers support the students of SGA? ZGA. I always get S and Z mixed up for some reason. I say SGA because it's School Student Government Association.
Support ZGA.org for the event is one way right now. And then overall during the year, ZinaGarrison.org.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank
To
you.
this show and to this podcast.
And keep going. Just because you don't have it right at this moment don't mean that it's not around the corner.
Oh, no, it's coming. I always tell myself 25, I'm going to be the best in the city. 30, going to be the best in the nation. 35, the best in the world. That's my mentality.
Hey, I like that.
And guess what? We are out.